You see, one of the greatest tragedies for a man is to go through life not understanding his own value, and this happens more often than you might think. Most men are taught, either directly or through subtle cues, to tie their worth to what they can do for others, particularly for women. They believe that if they make her laugh, buy her things, agree with her constantly, and cater to her every whim, then she'll want them. That's not how it works. In fact, it often has the opposite effect. Because when a man doesn't recognize his own worth, when he places her on a pedestal and places himself at her feet, he's not offering love, he's offering desperation, and women can feel it. There's an instinctive, almost primal awareness that tells them something is off. You're not leading, you're not centered, you're seeking and nobody wants to chase what's already chasing them. Now, when a man knows his worth, not in a loud, arrogant way, but in a grounded, quiet certainty, something changes. His posture changes, his tone changes, his eyes no longer scan for approval, his body no longer leans in, trying to convince her to stay, and the paradox is, when he stops trying to get her, that's when she starts leaning toward him, because now he's embodying something rare, self-respect. Self-worth is not about inflating your ego or pretending you're better than everyone else. That's insecurity wearing a mask. Real self-worth is humble. It's clear it doesn't flinch when faced with rejection, because it knows rejection isn't a threat. It's just redirection. When you've done the work to understand who you are, what you value, and what you won't tolerate, you become rooted. And people, especially women feel that. Most men chase because they think they're incomplete. They've been conditioned to believe that finding the right woman will fill the hole inside them, but a relationship built on lack is doomed from the start. If you're looking for her to validate your existence, you're handing her power she didn't ask for and doesn't respect. The irony is when a man builds himself, his mind, his body, his mission, when he creates a life that he is proud of, women are drawn to him not because he needs them, but because he doesn't. He becomes a man of abundance, not scarcity. And that kind of man, he doesn't chase, he chooses he invites, and women respond to that energy in a way that's almost automatic. So stop waiting to feel worthy when she likes you. Stop trying to earn your value through approval. Start acting like a man who already knows what he brings to the table. That doesn't mean you become careless or cruel. Quite the opposite. It means your kindness has boundaries, your attention has value. Your presence is a gift, not a plea. The man who understands this doesn't just attract women. He commands respect from everyone around him, and respect is the foundation of attraction. When you finally realize you don't need her to feel whole, that's when she'll start wondering what it is about you that makes her want to be part of your world. There's a difference between being liked and being respected, and far too many men confuse the two. They think, if I'm agreeable, if I smile enough, if I say the right things, she'll like me. And maybe she will for a moment, but it won't last, because deep down, she doesn't want someone who follows her lead out of fear. She wants someone with a spine, with conviction. Someone who can walk into a room and move with purpose, not hesitation. When your actions are driven by the need for approval, you're not leading, you're reacting. You become like a leaf in the wind, always shifting based on what you think others want from you. That's not attractive, that's not dependable, and most importantly, it's not real. You're not showing her you You're showing her a projection of who you think she wants you to be. That projection might get a smile, maybe even a date, but it will never earn deep respect or lasting desire, because she can feel it. She can feel that you're performing. Purpose is what anchors you. It gives you direction. It gives your words weight and your actions meaning. A man with purpose doesn't apologize for being himself. He doesn't need constant reassurance because he already knows where he's going. And that certainty, that quiet, internal certainty, it's powerful. Women can sense it the moment you speak, The moment you walk in, the moment you make a decision without over-explaining or backpedaling. But here's the part that's hard to swallow. Leading with purpose often means risking disapproval. It means some people, maybe even her, won't like what you say, won't agree with your choices, won't validate every move you make. And that's okay. You have to be willing to not be liked in order to be respected. That's where real strength shows up. Not in charm, not in trying to smooth everything over, but in standing firm when it would be easier to fold. Now that doesn't mean you become cold or rigid. That's not leadership. That's insecurity in disguise. Real purpose has room for nuance. It listens, it considers, but it doesn't crumble. When you know who you are and what matters to you, you can bend without breaking. You can love without losing yourself, and that's rare. That's what draws people in. Not just women, but anyone, because we all want to be near people who are grounded, who stand for something real. Think about it like this. When a woman sees that your decisions aren't made just to win her approval, she begins to trust you more. She sees that you're not afraid to say no, and not afraid to walk away if something doesn't align with your values. And in a world full of people trying to please everyone, that kind of man stands out like a lighthouse in the fog. He doesn't chase, he moves forward and others are drawn to follow. Too many men are stuck in the trap of asking, what does she want me to be? Instead of asking, who do I want to become? You don't build attraction by bending yourself into someone else's expectations. You build it by becoming the kind of man who doesn't need to ask for permission to be himself. Because once you start leading with purpose, you don't just attract attention. You earn respect, and respect always outlasts approval, always. There's something most men never quite understand about attraction. It doesn't thrive on certainty. It thrives on curiosity, on mystery, on the unknown, and yet so many men, in a desperate attempt to be liked or to appear trustworthy, lay all their cards on the table within minutes. They reveal everything, feelings, intentions, vulnerabilities, even their past mistakes, as if baring their soul will somehow fast-track connection. But what they don't realize is that mystery isn't deception, it's tension. And tension is what keeps her interested. When you meet someone for the first time, there's a dance taking place, and in that dance, timing matters. If you reveal too much too quickly, you rob the moment of its natural rhythm. You suffocate the space where curiosity could grow. You don't give her time to wonder, to lean in, to feel that pull toward you. And when there's no mystery, there's nothing to pursue. You've given it all away without making her earn the insight into who you are. And it's not just about conversation. It's about presence. It's about not always rushing to fill the silence, not constantly needing to explain yourself. When a man is calm and self-contained, when he doesn't fidget with his words or seek to be understood at every turn, there's a stillness about him that's captivating. He doesn't broadcast his emotions, he lets them simmer just beneath the surface. And that subtlety, it draws people in. Now some might hear this and think, so you're saying I should play games? No, not at all. There's a difference between mystery and manipulation. Manipulation is strategic dishonesty. It's pretending to be something you're not in order to gain a reaction. But mystery is the opposite. Mystery is about restraint. It's about being fully authentic, but not fully available right away. You don't need to manufacture mystery. You simply need to stop bleeding out your story before anyone's earned the right to hear it. A man with mystery doesn't need to advertise his depth. He doesn't need to say, I'm different, or I've been through so much. He lets time reveal that. Because he trusts that the right woman will take the time to uncover who he really is. And when she does, it'll mean something. It won't be cheap, it'll be earned. And this matters more than ever in today's world, where everything is instant connection, instant feedback, instant gratification. When you stand out by not being immediately accessible, you challenge the norm. You slow things down. You force her to tune in, to pay attention, to work a little harder to understand you. And that effort, that asterisk investment asterisk, is what creates real emotional engagement. Mystery is also deeply connected to self-worth. When you don't feel the need to explain yourself constantly, or to prove you're good enough, it shows that you already know you are. You're not trying to close the deal in the first 5 minutes. You're letting things unfold naturally. And that communicates patience, confidence, and strength, qualities that women don't just admire, but are instinctively drawn toward. You don't have to tell her everything you feel right away. You don't need to confess your life story on the second date. Let there be some unanswered questions. Let her wonder a bit. Let her chase clarity, because in that space of curiosity, attraction grows. A man without boundaries is a man who cannot be trusted, not by others, and certainly not by himself. And trust me, women can sense that immediately. They can tell when you're saying yes because you're afraid to say no. They can tell when you're agreeing just to avoid conflict. That kind of behavior doesn't create connection. It creates resentment. It doesn't inspire respect. It invites testing. Because if you won't protect your own values, your time, your energy, why would anyone else? We live in a culture that's increasingly allergic to the idea of standing firm. Everything has to be negotiable. Everyone has to be liked. But there's something deeply wrong with that. Because when a man becomes too flexible, too eager to please, he loses the core of what makes him desirable in the first place. He becomes replaceable, and people, especially women, aren't drawn to what's easily controlled. They're drawn to strength, and strength is measured by what you won't allow, not just what you can tolerate. Think about this. When a man says yes to everything, he is, in effect, saying no to himself. He's putting someone else's comfort above his own principles, and in doing so, he trains the world to see him as secondary. He trains others to believe that his presence, his time, and even his affection are available on demand. There's nothing sacred about him, nothing protected, and people don't value what they don't have to earn. Now, that doesn't mean you go around barking orders or drawing lines in the sand just to prove you have boundaries. That's posturing. That's insecurity. Real boundaries aren't loud. They are consistent. They're calm. You don't have to explain them a dozen times. You just live by them. If someone crosses a line, you don't lash out. You step back. You withdraw access, not as punishment, but as a simple consequence. And people learn from that. Quickly, women in particular are incredibly attuned to this dynamic, not because they're testing you in some malicious way, but because they want to know, is this someone I can trust? Is this a man who will hold the line? Because if you can't stand up to me, how are you going to stand up for us, when life gets difficult, when things get uncertain, when I'm at my worst? Boundaries are a form of leadership. They say, I know who I am, I know what I stand for, and I'm not going to compromise that just to make you stay. And ironically, when you carry yourself with that kind of inner authority, you stop having to draw boundaries constantly, because the way you exist already communicates them. People adjust their behavior in your presence without you having to say a word. What happens then is simple. Respect follows, and with that respect comes attraction. Because you've shown that your dignity isn't for sale. That your affection has to be earned. You stop being the man who begs for attention, and you become the man who commands it, just by being rooted in your values. So if you're wondering why she doesn't take you seriously, if you feel like you're always the one chasing, always the one adjusting, maybe it's time to ask yourself, where have you abandoned your own standards? Where have you said yes when you should have walked away? If your life is empty, don't expect anyone to be excited about joining it. It's as simple as that. Too many men build their identity around the hope that someone else will come along and complete them. They wait for the relationship, the affection, the external approval, thinking that once they have then everything will finally make sense. But here's the harsh truth. A woman cannot save you from the life you refuse to build. When a man lives with purpose, when he wakes up with something that pulls him forward, when he cultivates friendships, takes care of his body, follows his curiosities, and finds joy in being alive, he becomes rare. He becomes magnetic, because now his life isn't an empty shell waiting to be filled. It's a full vessel already in motion. He's not asking her to be the reason he gets out of bed in the morning. He's inviting her into something already rich, already meaningful. That's the kind of man women chase, not because he's flashy, not because he's playing games, but because his energy speaks for itself. There's movement, there's substance. He doesn't need anyone to validate his existence because he's already engaged in something bigger than himself. And people can feel that, but you see, building that kind of life takes effort. It means not wasting years scrolling, numbing out, or chasing meaningless approval. It means investing in yourself, your mind, your habits, your goals, even when no one's watching. Especially when no one's watching, because that's where real integrity is forged, and that's where confidence comes from. Not from compliments, not from likes, but from asterisk becoming someone you're proud of asterisk. Now, some men hesitate. They say, well, what's the point if I don't have anyone to share it with? But that's exactly the point. If you can't enjoy your own company, if you can't take yourself seriously, why should anyone else? If you're bored, disconnected, and looking for a relationship just to escape that, you're not offering a partnership. You're offering an emotional burden, and no woman wants to be your escape plan. She wants to be your complement, not your cure. So think about this. What would your life look like if you stopped waiting for permission to live it fully? What would happen if you started treating your time like it mattered? If you stopped numbing out and started showing up with intention? You'd become dangerous in the best way, because now your happiness isn't dependent on anyone else's presence. It's grounded, it's earned, and that kind of emotional independence, it's incredibly attractive. When you live fully, without apology, women feel it. They feel your passion, they sense your direction. They want to be around you not because you're pulling on them for attention, but because your life feels asterisk alive asterisk. And that feeling, it's irresistible, not because you're trying to impress them, but because you're no longer trying to fill a void. You're inviting them into something real. That doesn't mean you shut people out or pretend you don't care. It means your cup is already full, and anyone who enters your world is adding to it, not completing it. And that, right there, is what shifts everything. There's a certain kind of man who walks into a room and immediately shifts the atmosphere, not because he's loud, not because he demands attention, but because his presence speaks before he does. And that presence, that quiet gravity, comes from alignment. From living in a way where your words, your actions, your values, and your identity are not scattered in different directions, but are fused into one coherent whole. That's what makes a man powerful, not bravado. Not performance, but internal coherence. Too many men live fractured lives. They say one thing and do another. They preach discipline, but live in chaos. They want deep connection, but entertain surface-level distractions. And they wonder why they don't feel confident, why people don't respect them, why women lose interest. It's because deep down they know they're out of sync with themselves, and you can't fake alignment. Not for long. Confidence isn't something you perform, it's something you earn. It's the natural outcome of living in integrity. When your life reflects your principles, you walk differently, you speak differently. You sleep better, you stop needing validation because you're no longer at war with yourself. And women, whether they say it out loud or not, are profoundly drawn to that kind of peace in a man. It's rare. It's grounding, it feels safe. Not in a weak or soft way, but in a solid, trustworthy way. The truth is, people can sense when you're faking it. You might fool them for a while, but energy doesn't lie. If you're out of alignment, if your habits betray your goals, if your talk doesn't match your walk at shows, in your posture, in your tone, in the way you hesitate when challenged, and it creates a subtle unease that drives people away, even if they can't quite explain why. But when you take the time to clean up your own house, to bring order to your mind, your environment, your choices, you stop needing to convince anyone of your worth, because now it's visible. It's in how you show up. It's in how you speak about yourself. It's in how you say no without guilt, how you lead without forcing, how you love without losing your edge. And here's the beautiful paradox. When you align yourself with something higher than comfort, when you hold yourself to a standard that doesn't waver based on who's watching, you actually become more free. You're no longer tossed around by external approval or rejection. You become stable, clear, and that clarity, it's magnetic. People are drawn to what is grounded. Especially in a culture where most people are constantly performing, constantly reacting, constantly trying to be everything to everyone. So if you want to be the kind of man women chase, not for a night, but for real, start by getting honest with yourself. Where are you out of alignment? What habits are quietly eroding your self-respect? What lies have you tolerated just to feel accepted? Clean those up, bit by bit, not for her, but for you. Because the moment you align your actions with your highest values, you no longer chase confidence. You become it. And when that happens, when your presence reflects your principles, you stop needing to convince anyone to stay. Because they'll already feel that you're a man worth standing beside.